texted me a while ago and said, hey, we need to buy a cow. Roast is $40 at the grocery store. I was like, we need to buy a freezer or we can start eating deer. She goes, deer don't have roast.
Just tell her, okay. Hey, good morning. We'll call the Rankin County Board of Supervisors May 2nd board meeting to order. Mr. Slay, if you would, we'll start with an invocation.
Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, on this occasion, we just want to recognize your presence here with us today, your power, your blessing, your creative authority, Father, the way that you provide for the skills and the abilities that all of the people that we'll talk about here today, Father, those are because of your blessings upon us. You've given us the skills and the abilities to carry out your work, Father, to serve you effectively and well, to serve our communities well, Father, to participate in our government, which is an incredible privilege that you give to us that we don't want to take for granted. We think about our friends, Lord, that we're going to celebrate today, our friends that you've also given skills and abilities to, and you placed them in positions of authority. We know that's because of your will. Father, you put them in places where they can be effective, where they can be wise and faithful stewards of the resources that you've entrusted to us. And so, Father, I just pray that you would give all of us today, all of us, that measure of wisdom and discernment that we need to carry out your work. We thank you and praise you for the men and women who sacrifice every day so that we might be safe, so that we might have a safe community that can be governed properly. Father, thank you for that blessing, and we don't want to take it for granted. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Good morning. Thank you again, Mr. Slay, for that. We're going to go into public comments, and we're going to ask Mr. Slay to come back up. But while we've got our special delegations that are here, I know we've got the Lieutenant Governor, Speaker of the House, and I just want to remind y'all how special we are to have our Rankin County delegation here, representatives that are here from the Senate and the House. So, Mr. Slay, I know you've got a few things to say to identify and recognize our individuals, but we are thankful to have them here in Rankin County.
Gentlemen, some time ago, the five of you decided that it would be a good idea for us to cooperate as best we can with our friends at the state legislature to help move Rankin County forward. You made and dedicated resources from the citizens of Rankin County for the purpose of being absolutely clear that we were turning over every rock, we were making every potential relationship that we could so that the citizens of Rankin County can benefit from the blessings that flow, as I said in my prayer this morning, and the blessings that have been bestowed on the state of Mississippi and Rankin County. Because of the process that you've initiated, we have begun a strategic process of working with our friends, especially at the state legislature, to make sure that everyone's aware of the needs of Rankin County citizens, and they have been, without fail and without exception, all of our friends at the legislature, from the highest levels of authority on down, have been receptive and open to Rankin County's needs. We have found an open door of opportunity to come and to share and to address matters that are of great concern. In recent days, we initiated a process that relates to some of the funding that has been pushed down from the federal government, and the efforts that have been made have been incredibly fruitful. Before I get into a recitation of just the successes that we have had, and by the way, I will undoubtedly leave some things out, and I apologize in advance for that because we have been incredibly successful this particular session. Let me start by saying how appreciative I am of those who are here today. I noticed that we have the Speaker of the House, Mr. Philip Gunn, here with us today. I noticed that Governor Hoseman just walked in. Thank you, Governor Hoseman, for being here with us today. You two gentlemen honor us with your presence here today. And on behalf of the citizens of Rankin County, we want to say thank you for coming. We have Senator Josh Harkins, who is a friend of Rankin County. Senator Dean Kirby, a friend of Rankin County. These two gentlemen have been instrumental on the Senate side and have been very, very helpful and open to hear from us and to meet with us. House of Representative members who are here, Lee Yancey. Lee, wait, where are you, Lee? There's Lee. Thank you. Gene Newman. Earl, thank you, Brother Gene, for being here. Brent Powell. Brent, Rose Warriors, thank you, Brent. Fred Shanks. Frederick, good to see you. Thank you. Brandon. Tom Weathersby. Mr. Tom, Florence area, thank you. Price Wallace. Ms. Price, so thankful to have you here. I left out Senator Chris Kaufman. Senator Kaufman covers mostly Simpson County and some of Rankin County. Thank you for being here with us today. We don't leave you out as a Rankin County guy. You're a Rankin County guy. Thank you very much. We also have representatives here with us today, and it'll become obvious why we have these folks here with us. Our good friends from Hines Community College, Dr. Stephen Vasick. Dr. Vasick, thank you. Dr. Vic Parker, sometimes I forget to call Vic Doctor. Ms. Renee Cotton and Ms. Ginger Robbins. Thank you guys from Hines. I saw Dr. Scott Rhymes from the school district. There is Scott. Good to see you. Thank you for being here with us today as well. Guys, we've got a lot of folks here. I may have left somebody out. I apologize now. I knew that would be a dangerous thing for me to do, is start down a litany of guests who are here with us today, so I apologize now. I forgot Dr. Homer Burns is here with us. Did I forget Dr. Burns? I saw you. Thank you, Dr. Burns. Thank you. We got you covered. So our friends from Hines are here for obvious reasons.
Hey, Mr. Slay, can I introduce one person?
Yes.
Ms. Stringer's here also.
Oh, yes.
From Hines Community College Board. Miss Dana?
Yeah.
She's hiding back behind Fred.
She wears so many hats, I wasn't sure why she was here.
Who we got?
And Larry's on our board as well,
And
but Larry
Larry-
is a normal visitor.
Larry
so.
and the sheriff. The sheriff is one of the elected
about
officials.
Well, it goes without saying, we
Sorry.
appreciate Larry being here.
Sorry about that, Mr. Slay. I interrupted you there.
We'll just go around the room.
Absolutely.
I do not
Does
want to
anybody leave
leave.
anybody out? Anybody else want to
I do not want to leave out Mr. Sanders.
Let me also say,
Yeah.
Mr. Sanders with school. I can't get anything if I don't have Mr. Sanders on my side.
Shane's responsible for their school, the school grounds, school properties. Thank you for being here, Shane. We've got a number of things that we want to celebrate here today. But before I get to that, I want to also mention that we have here with us members of our team. Ryan Herndon's here with Wagner Engineering. Mr. John Milner, who with Bernini Law Firm, who's been very helpful with us. Mr. Trey Jones, who helps us with all of our litigation and has been, apparently he's lobbying to be a lobbyist at some point. Trey's become very, very helpful to us over the course. We just want to say thank you to each and every person who is here today to help to celebrate the things that have happened recently that are a benefit to Rankin County. And this is an opportunity, gentlemen, each of you that have been recognized as being such good and helpful friends to Rankin County. This is the opportunity that we wanted to be able to share with you, that it is appreciated. And my concern would be that you help us and help us and help us, and you go out of your way to be available to us, and we don't appropriately respond with how much we appreciate that openness and that opportunity to share with you, and the way that you challenge us on occasion to sharpen our pencils and to make sure that what we're asking for is something that we need. So y'all help us immensely with that. Let me walk through a few things. I think everything on my list has been signed into law now by the governor, so I don't think that we're going to have a whoopsie on any of this stuff. If I leave something out, you can buttonhole me after I get finished and tell me what to put on my list to make sure we get it covered. First, and there is no priority here, and what I'm about to outline for you guys, which are successes that we've had for this legislative session, they're not in any particular order. I'm just going to go down the list. And so I don't want anybody to think that some are more important than others. First, full homestead reimbursement. I want to look at my Lieutenant Governor right quick because I think you made that a central focus with respect to clearing up some things that had been unaccounted for some time. For those that don't know, when Rankin County provides homestead exemption to our citizens, the state, by virtue of a statute, the state is responsible for reimbursing Rankin County fully for all homestead reimbursements that are made. Since 2015, and recently went through this with you guys, since 2015, Rankin County and other counties have not received full reimbursement. In fact, our current outstanding balance for all homestead reimbursements is in excess of $1 million. That's both with the county and with school districts. So it can become an issue over time if it's not addressed. Governor Hosemann saw that that's an issue, and he focused on that and made a priority to see to it that this particular year we got full homestead reimbursement. And Governor Hosemann, on behalf of Rankin County citizens, we want to say thank you for seeing to that. That has been an immense help to us. Our sheriff, it's no secret that our sheriff is inadequately compensated. He would not say that publicly, but he knows it, and we know that. And because of efforts that have been made throughout this legislative session, there has been the securing of additional compensation for the sheriff. I want to say thank you to everyone who has been a part of that process on behalf of the sheriff to get him where he needs to be. From the standpoint of compensation, we had to have help to get there, and you guys were instrumental in seeing to it that we got that done, and we say thank you for that. Rankin County is blessed and fortunate that we have the ability to provide some recreational grants through a local and private piece of legislation that we have utilized now for the better part of a decade. We had some help early. I think Mark Baker may have been involved in the early stages of helping us with some local and private on that long ago. And so we, sir? Well, let me hasten to add that I knew one of the risks of this gathering like this would be to invoke a name that didn't resonate well with the folks who are here. I knew that that was a risk, so yeah, that was a mistake. Thank you for correcting me on that. Yeah, I don't know if Mark was involved in any of this, so we'll just say that for the record. All right.
Certainly not the most recent.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Our folks benefit from a legislature that understands that this board being given some authority to use county dollars to help school kids with recreational opportunities is a big deal. It's a quality of life issue for us. It's a way of this board saying we know that not every recreational opportunity can be funded at the level that it needs to be funded at to provide all of the opportunities that we would like to see for all of our kids. And so this board having the authority and the ability to step out and to help smaller schools, especially areas that are underserved, under-resourced, with additional recreational opportunities for our school kids, that's a big deal. And we had help this year making sure that we have that authority continuing. And praise the Lord, we don't have to go back and ask for any more additional authority all the way through the end of 2026, and that's a big deal for my board, and we want to say thank you for that. Another local and private that we secured with the help of our friends at the legislature, both sides, is the authority to enter into important road contracts in the last year of your term. The statute that doesn't allow us to enter into road projects that are at the end of your term unless they can be completed within 30 days of the end of your term. The kind of projects that Rankin County is undertaking will go much longer in duration because they are significant projects. They're going to go much longer in duration than the 30th day after the end of this board's current term. Thank you on behalf of the citizens of Rankin County. We'll be able to keep pushing important road projects now without worrying about when we stand them up for purposes of the contract. That is a huge help. That is a huge help to Rankin County. We thank you for that authority. We will not abuse that authority. We will use it like we want to, like we're authorized to, and we'll make sure that we do you proud. Next, we secured, through the help of the legislature, $8 million for our road preservation plan that this board saw the wisdom of entering into long ago. A plan that helps us to prioritize every public road in Rankin County for the purpose of maintenance, for the purpose of maintenance and upkeep of that road over time on a schedule. We call that plan Civil Link. Some of you guys have heard that word. You're probably sick of hearing about Civil Link in Rankin County, but you listened to us. You felt that it was worthy. It is a county-wide emphasis. Every road in Rankin County can now be impacted because you guys saw fit to help invest with us on our maintenance plan. It's huge. Every county in Mississippi has to deal with road maintenance, and that continuing maintenance responsibility is a burden. It's expensive. Taxpayers have to deal with that. Your help will get us to a point now where our roads can be brought up to as good a potential in terms of their status. You have put us well ahead of the game by providing that level of funding for us that we will now utilize efficiently and effectively in your name. And so thank you for that. You provided us, and this is why our friends from Hines Community College are here. You responded well to our request that we help Hines Community College. I'm looking at Tom Weathersby, Ms. Tom. You've been on the forefront of that. Thank you for your leadership on that particular emphasis. Hines Community College has a nursing program that's currently staged outside of Rankin County. The building that they operate in is challenged. It cannot be efficiently renovated so that it will serve the purpose in the future for Hines Community College. Their leadership has seen the wisdom to consider relocating the nursing and allied health program in Rankin County, and the legislature said we think that's a wise investment, and you've provided $8 million in initial funding to help us and Hines Community College get where they need to be, get that nursing and allied health program to Rankin County. Can I just tell you that from an economic development standpoint, that is a huge, huge benefit to Rankin County. Can I just tell you that? That is a wise investment to get our kids positioned so that in the future, we all know what's coming. The medical community needs workers. The medical community needs people that have good job workforce training. The medical community needs kind of a bulletproof access to a continuing workforce. No better way for that to happen than for us to be able to educate our kids right here in Rankin County and then send them right over to Flowood, the Lakeland corridor, the medical corridor community that's there, and say, how would you like to have access to some well-qualified students who've been trained, who are ready to go to work? And I see this as a symbiotic relationship, both from the standpoint of education and from economic development. You saw the wisdom of that. You helped us. You passed that legislation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate that very much. I'm almost to the end of my list here. I'd like to keep going, by the way. ARPA, it's no secret that Rankin County has made a full, unabashed commitment to use its ARPA funding that it received from the federal government in the wisest, most comprehensive way possible. And one of the primary focuses that this board has undertaken is in stormwater management. You looked at the ARPA legislation that got pushed down and you said ARPA will allow us to proceed with what we've already started, what we're already doing, where we're already investing in stormwater management. You saw that, you asked your folks, your professionals, get us a plan and put it together so that we are in the best place possible. We didn't know when we started down that road of how we were going to use our ARPA funds that we were going to focus on our stormwater management plan that this board put in place in August of 2018 before anybody had ever heard of a virus. We didn't know that the state might be interested in helping us with some sort of additional investment on our stormwater management plan. But we said we're going forward with stormwater management and we're going to ramp up our plan and implement our plan as far as we can take it with the funding that we've received. And this board said $25 million. $25 million of our ARPA distribution is going straight into our stormwater management program. We met, and you guys will recall, we met early last fall. We met with leadership and others in the legislature, and we said, here's our plan. This is what we're intending to do. And because you guys believe in that plan, you said, we want to hear more about this. We want to see your plan. In fact, one of the scariest meetings, there were two really scary meetings. The first was with Speaker Gunn, and we met with the Rankin County. We met with the Rankin County House leadership, and Speaker, you were so helpful and instrumental in making sure that our delegation understood This is an important consideration. It needs due consideration. You ought to hear about it. You ought to come to this breakfast meeting. You'll be surprised to learn that all of our House members responded favorably to the speaker's call to that meeting. We didn't have any trouble. They were all there. And so thank you for helping us with that. The second really scary meeting was with Governor Hoseman. Governor Hoseman looked at our plan, and Governor, you wouldn't deny this, but my first thought upon seeing your reaction was, we're in trouble. He doesn't like it. But he was already at work studying the details. I think, Governor, at that point, you had a better handle on what our cost projections were than even we did at that point. And so he asked some very pointed questions that helped us then to streamline our request so that it could be better made approachable and acceptable. And we genuinely appreciate the fact that we got great receptivity to our plan. I hope you guys leave here today understanding that Rankin County has some pretty important priorities, but we know we're not the only county in the state. What we have seen as far as our response, the response to our proposals is that you challenge us to make sure that what we ask for, you guys aren't caught in the trick bag of having to explain that to Sunflower County or to Grenada or to Lee County and them say, what in the world? Now they may be saying that, but it's not because we have not supported our requests. It's because we have done our homework, and we're doing everything that we can to make sure we take y'all's time and the equity that we need you to have for us. We take that very seriously. We're not going to bring you something that is a ridiculous request. It's not going to do it. And if we can't do it ourselves, I hope you understand this. The monies that you're helping us with, the allocations and the appropriations that we've received, these are an adjunct, these are a supplement to what we're already doing. We're not asking you guys to do something we're not already doing. And so when we talk about ARPA, we're 25 million in, whether we get a dime through the DEQ process or not. We're moving forward with our stormwater management plan. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you've done for us this year. And before I ask for others to come forward and to address the board, I want for us to express our appreciation to these gentlemen for everything that they've done to help Rankin County for this legislative session.
Amen.
Thank you very much. I want to ask, and there is no order here. So I would like to ask Speaker Gunn, if he will, to come forward, address the board, make any remarks he wishes to make. Governor Hoseman, if you will do the same when the speaker finishes, and then I'll have another couple of presentations for you.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. I was told to come to a breakfast or reception, I think it was, this morning. Didn't realize we were having an official board meeting, so I apologize. And didn't know I was going to get to speak either. I was at Harrison County Republican Christmas Club, Christmas party one time. Harrison County Republican Club Christmas party. And they said, we're going to start our program here in a few minutes, and we're going to introduce our guest speaker. But before we do, we want to introduce some of the other people in the crowd. Well, I'm over in the corner eating cookies and drinking punch, wondering who the guest speaker is going to be. And then they said it was me. So I had to wipe the cookies off my face and think of something to say. Let me start by saying this is incredibly nice of you to do this. We do not hear thanks often. And so this is a rare occasion, and the fact that you would devote some time and attention to us, having us out here just to say thanks is incredibly nice, and I appreciate that very much. I want to acknowledge the work of my House members. They're all sitting out here. Tom, Gene, Lee, Brent, Price, and Fred. On my side, I'll let the Lieutenant Governor thank his guys. No, I'll thank him too. I'm going to tell you what, working with Dean and Josh and Chris has been a pleasure. They are diligent people, they are kind, they are passionate about Rankin County, and all of your delegation is passionate about Rankin County. And I said this at one of the meetings previously, and I'll say it again. You have a tremendous delegation from Rankin County. Your House members and your senators are all men of character. They are passionate about Rankin County. They do a great job. You need to send them back to the Capitol as often as they are willing to go. And you don't hear that. And listen, I live in Hines County, so I got nothing to gain by telling you that. I'm just telling you the honest truth. You've got people who represent you that are quality individuals, and you need to send them all back as long as they're willing to go on your behalf. They do a great job for you. Rankin County is an integral part of this state. We recognize that more and more each day. We knew it for quite some time, but the numbers bear that out. In the census, we took the census last year, and you've seen enormous growth in the Rankin-Madison corridor. In fact, there are only 3 spots in the state that had enough growth to justify a new House seat on our side of the building. Each House seat is roughly 25,000 in size, and so on the House side, DeSoto County had the largest growth in the state, so we put a new House seat there. The Mississippi Gulf Coast had a significant growth, and we put another House seat there, and the third one was Rankin County. I think that speaks to what you're doing here in Rankin County. People want to live here. They are coming here. This new House seat encompasses the southeast edge of Madison County and comes across the river into Rankin County. The majority of it sits in Rankin County, but there was enough growth in that spot to justify a new House seat. So when I say to you Rankin County is integral, Rankin County is doing well, that's not just hyperbole. That's not just me making a political statement. The numbers back it up. You got people who want to live here. They're coming here, and it's because of the great job that you're doing of growing Rankin County, promoting yourselves. You got a great board. You've got great towns, great mayors. All of them do a fantastic job of putting you out front so that the people want to come and live here. And so it's our pleasure to respond by helping you continue the things that you've already started. And this list of things that he just read is a reflection of the fact that we view Rankin County as incredibly important, and we want to partner with you to make sure that you continue to succeed. So thank you so much for letting me say a few words. It's a pleasure to be with you here today.
Thank y'all, and it's good to see everybody. And I want to echo one thing happened in church a week ago. This lady, we never do get thank yous. It's always what you didn't do. If you look at the newspaper, we collectively in the Senate and House covered everything from medical marijuana to redistricting, teacher pay largest ever, tax cut largest ever, all these other things. So the newspaper will automatically run the one thing you didn't do, of course. But I was in church the other day, this lady came up, she was being very complimentary. She just did a great job this year. I watched you, everything like that. So that's thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm real proud of everything you did. You're one of the best attorney generals we've ever had. Here I am. They didn't even have the sex right. Really bad. I do. When we did meet the first time on this stormwater, I was so impressed with the list of things to do, because so many others were looking at their individual efforts and whatnot. But y'all were looking at the combined city and the county work. And the $25 million that they put up, we fully intend to match. That's the goal. So you'll have $50 million of stormwater, which is a little bit less than the full amount needed when you started. Actually, about $70 million. So we'll do most of the stormwater for Rankin County for the foreseeable future. Very important thing. But the other thing that impresses me, a couple other quick points. We have a sheriff here who runs a program for making sure that people get work and are able to then come back in to society. We memorialize that in statute. And when we did, Jackson County on the coast, Tupelo, they all wanted the same plan that Brian Bailey had. Every time we look around at things that y'all do, y'all have such a strong leadership here. And it's the same in the Senate. The President Pro Tem Dean Kirby is here. He got elected unanimously. Now, I didn't do that, but he did. He was unanimously elected by his fellow senators. For head of finance, Josh Harkins. One of the two top committees of appropriations and finance on our side, you got one of them. And so you got the president pro tem and the head of finance. I would say Rankin County is well positioned. The other one is head of all the banking. Chris is head of all banking. 3 strong chairmen here. Now that you've trained Chris so well, we've actually given you another Senate seat. Now, you know I love Philip and everything, but 1 Senate seat is worth 2 House seats. So we're going to have another senator here, and I guarantee you, you will send someone to us who will rise to be the same levels that the other ones you've sent here, the Chris's and the Deans that you have sent here, Josh Hawkins. So we're real excited about the future, and we're real excited about Rankin County. Oftentimes, I know Philip and I have talked about if we had 81 other counties like this one, we'd be on a real roll. So we're real pleased to have y'all. It's real honor for all of us to be out here. We recognize your leadership, and it's going to continue and expand. So thank you very much. It's good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks. I want to give Dr. Stephen Basic with Hines Community College an opportunity to address the board and to address our guests with us. So much of what we talked about here today was a direct additional support for Hines Community College and their efforts in Rankin County, and so we would be remiss if we didn't offer them an opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Greg, I guess my 30 minutes are off the table given how long we are in this, so I'll make this brief, and thank you very much for letting me go after the speaker and the lieutenant governor. I appreciate that a lot. That's not normal for me. I usually get to go first, not after those guys. But real quickly, first of all, I want to say thank you as well, simply for the service of each of you as public officials, our supervisors, our senators and representatives, because we talked about, you don't hear enough thank yous, but the reality is what you really hear is people taking personal issues and making it personal towards you. And that's uncool, it's unfair, particularly because we're all in this to try to serve others. And so I want to thank you just for deflecting those things, because I know they can be painful sometimes and hurtful, and I thank you for that. I also been very fortunate in my time in education and post-secondary education, working in 4 different states in community colleges. I've devoted my life to community colleges because I believe in what we do. And I will tell you that I still believe that Mississippi has one of the very best systems in the entire country. But that also is incumbent upon us to continue to support that. And this last year, with the appropriations that were provided by our legislators, we were able to make some strides and move ahead as we put our budget together. And so I want to thank them personally for their help and their support in all of this. They can see what we're doing when it comes to economic development, and I appreciate that, because that's our goal, is to put people to work, bottom line. And the third thing, and it's already been mentioned, but I'd briefly say thank you to our legislators for their $8 million in support of a nursing allied health facility, and also for our supervisors here in Rankin County who have expressed their support as well. The current facility we have is in a place that the land is basically giving up. The facility is sinking, and we need something that will replace that, and not only replace it, but make it so much better to be state-of-the-art. Because the reality is Hines Community College, serving the 5 counties right here in the central part of Mississippi, we are a flagship institution for all the other community colleges. And we need to have a facility that's going to support our health sciences throughout this entire area, because this is where people come when they're sick. And not only is it going to help us to educate more students and do it more effectively, but it's also going to be, as we talked about earlier, economic development, because hopefully we're going to put people to work as we're building a facility, but also as the facility is built. We have a Muse Center right across the street from where we propose to build this facility. We hope to have conferences and things that will bring people in and also increase the people coming and eating here and buying gasoline here and staying here in hotels. And so we really feel like this is an economic development project as well. And so I want to tell you again how much I appreciate you as supervisors. As my supervisors, I do live in Rankin County, though we have a wide area that I support as Hines Community College president. I will tell you it is also special for me to be here today as a citizen of Rankin County. And so thank you very much. Thank you to each of you, and I appreciate you and your friendship. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
Gentlemen, we want to close this recognition time by being reminded that we had a lot of help with our reception. I want to thank all of our staff here at the Board of Supervisors office for providing us with great food and refreshments here this morning. And I want to invite folks that are here for the recognition to please stop by in the lobby. Take some food with you because we have more than enough. Please take some food with you, enjoy and help yourself. And I wanted to give you gentlemen an opportunity to respond if you wish to, but otherwise we'll close the recognition and move on with
Yeah,
our time.
Mr. Slate, there's one person we also want, I know Mr. Gaines wanted to recognize one group, just so our legislative delegation knows who we also have in the audience.
Under our public comments and recognition, we have a very special group of people here that we want to recognize. I've known them for a long time. If you don't know, please meet them. It's Evergreen Christian Community Church. Dr. Betty Ward Fletcher. She was an interim president at Jackson State. She's educated. She helps in the community. She helps my road manager. The lady is everything. She's here with their new pastor, Carl Brickham Jr. They will have I'm assuming it'll be just as big as it was last year. Well, no, it's been, 2 years ago, I think, because of maybe the COVID. A big extravaganza, and it's tremendous. Family come from all over. Great Christian community. Thank y'all for coming. They were on our public comments, and I did not want us to leave without recognizing them. They deserve more than just a recognition. And we're going to do, we've got something else from Ms. Ward whenever Mr. Slay is ready.
Absolutely. We can do that now, or we can dismiss our folks with the legislature. I know we've got some guys here who are with us today that have other appointments today, so I wanted to give them an opportunity to make their way today. Gentlemen, again, thank you very much for joining us today, and we're gonna carry on with our meeting, so don't feel slighted by that. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you.
Carolyn Anderson, you wait, please, also, and Ms. Fletch.
Thank y'all for giving me the time. Appreciate all of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming over, my man. See you. I think so. They were this morning. You know how it goes. Everything's good right now. So, thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Just shake hands and get a picture. Josh isn't going up there to rescue. Yeah. Oh man, that's
Good. All right, we can have kind of everybody kind of mingle their way out, and we'll keep our board meeting running.
Say something, I guess. Next.
All right, if we can have everybody kind of work their way out, we're going to continue on our board meeting, please. Shoot up in there.
Vote comment.
Janice can't get control of it anymore.
Vote comment.
Yeah, they got acknowledge these people. Got no support right now. Yeah, hang on one second. I'm trying to get them. Janice has lost control. So. All right, we'll continue on with our public comment section. Mr. Slay, if I can just keep you at the podium for a second. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no
Hey, I
problem.
can't believe it, but don't worry, Lieutenant Governor took care of you, you know.
I did that. I can't help it. I guess blessing.
Hey, we'll pay it. We'll pay it. So
It's the Earl D. Rose School.
that's right. That's right. He's good. He's good. Good. So, all right. If we can get back to our agenda on public comments, Mr. Slay, I know we got a special group here. You've got a
We do.
presentation for.
So what I would like to do, Mr. President, with the board's permission, is to invite our guests from Evergreen Christian Community Church to come forward at this time. Dr. Bickham, if you'll please come forward. Ms. Betty Ward Fletcher, Dr. Betty Ward Fletcher, and Ms. Anderson, if you'll join them, please. We'll ask you guys to come here. The board's going to want to get a photo right quick with you guys. Gentlemen, these are representatives of Evergreen Christian Community Church. This is a very important church.
Front and center. Put y'all front and center.
This is a very important church in our community. We are celebrating with this church their transition to an independent church status, and we're excited for the work that will continue. This church is not doing new work. This church is continuing an important work that was begun long ago. But we do want to celebrate along with them some transitions that have occurred recently that will help to position this church for even more and better service in the community as we move forward. I want to read just one section from the proclamation that this board has already undertaken, which is to declare May 1, which was yesterday, but to declare May 1, 2022 to be Evergreen Christian Community Church Day in Rankin County, and we asked all of our citizens to join in celebrating the church's transition to independent status and the installation of its pastor as its inaugural pastor. Congratulations. And so here's one section that I want to read out of the proclamation because I think it really it synthesizes what we're here celebrating today. Evergreen Christian Community Church has been ordained and set apart by God to serve as an anchor of this community, where the presence of the Holy Spirit is felt, where people's lives are transformed, and where Spirit-filled lives are given places of service for the kingdom, and where life-changing power of the gospel is proclaimed faithfully and consistently. That's what we're here to celebrate today. We join with you folks in celebrating that God's call on you in this community, and we want to be as supportive as we can in what you're doing here in Rankin County. Thank you for your service, and thank you for honoring us with your presence today as we celebrate Evergreen Christian Community Church. Let's thank them. I'm going to step in, and if you guys will favor us with a photo, I'm going to use your phone if that's okay. All right, we're going to get a couple of photos here, guys. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take 2 or 3 so that everybody's got their eyes open. Very good. Can you double check me and make sure you're good there?
Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
As always, we appreciate you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all you do for Rankin County. Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, looking at our agenda, also on public comments, just trying to be sure it's Fletcher, Johnson, these are all with you right here, right?
These, yeah.
Here, they part, all 3 of those?
Yep.
All right, also on public comments on the sign-in sheet, Miss Monica Baldwin. Miss Baldwin, you're inside? Okay. Also on our agenda to speak, I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly. Chris, is Chris in here? I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to butcher it. And then Jim Defoe.
The outside.
Neither one of those are here. Miss Chance, are they outside?
You know what? That's Chris Gurus.
Gurus, all right.
Yeah.
That's on the
That's
tip
for the
plan.
tip.
That's later in the
Yeah.
agenda.
Okay.
I don't know why I signed up for
Yeah.
public comments.
Janice handed me a public comment list, so I was kind of trying to flow with her.
James got them to sign up, and I told them they would be later. I told him to bring them in.
What Miss Janice does sometimes, she'll throw these curveballs low and away, and I can't, I don't hit the fastball good, much less the curveball. So thank you, Miss Janice, for that. Anything else under public comments, Miss Janice?
Not to my knowledge.
All right, then we'll move into old business item 4. Board wish to
approved.
entertain a motion to approve the minutes by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed with the like sign. Item number 5, consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Mr. Calhoun, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item 6, Ms. Caroline Gilbert. I think she was in here. Is
She's
she
still here.
There she is. You were sitting behind Mike Word, and he.
There's not much on this agenda, I'll be fast.
I apologize for not seeing you. You were sitting behind Mike Ward. He blocks that whole corner over there with his shoulders.
One day I stood behind him
I know.
yeah.
You dressed up so nice for us today.
Well, he does those
I
shoulders.
know it's for us, not the legislators. I know.
Mondays are his shoulder and
It's a
arm
Monday.
days, you know, so.
Well, I can't do shoulder and arm days, so
That's
I'm
all
out.
All right,
Steve,
item
you want to do
eight.
it?
I understand. Item A, Ms. Gilbert.
Okay, registration fee, authority to pay registration fee for $50 for me to take the collector of revenue, the final exam in the tax collector classes.
Okay.
Motion approved.
So motion approved by Mr. Morrison.
Second.
Second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Thank you, Ms. Gilbert.
Thank you.
Item number 7, Mr. Sullivan. Lance, I know you're here. Good morning, Mr. Cooper.
I'm representing this morning.
Good morning.
Morning, y'all doing all right?
Good.
All right, we got 2 things here. The first one is petition for change of assessment of 2021 real property assessments, and then the petition to adjust the 21 homestead exemption supplemental rolls.
All right, so we could take those together if the board
Motion
wishes. So
approved.
motion to approve both, Mr. Gaines?
Yep.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Cooper.
gentlemen.
Item number 8, Ms. Herring. Good morning.
Good morning.
My first item this morning is it's time to renew the vending contract with Coombs Distributors.
Okay. Board wish to entertain a motion for item A.
I make a motion to approve.
All right,
Second.
so motion to approve by Mr. Calhoun, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So item A is approved. Item B, Ms. Herring.
Thank you. We need to take action on the proposals received for the collection of household hazardous waste. This time, we only received one proposal, and it was from Trade B Environmental Services. We've not done business with them in the past, but they have always submitted proposals.
What happened to the other companies? Wasn't there one in Florida?
They didn't submit anything. I sent out a lot of proposals, packages, and also on central bidding, a lot of people viewed it, but this is the only one received.
But he's advertised before, I mean, he's bid with us before.
This
But we've
company
never-
has bid with us, they just were never the primary.
Yeah. Okay.
We've not done,
That's all right.
they're
Only
always
one.
second.
That's all right.
All right, so
Motion approved.
motion to approve the one bid by
Second.
Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Thank you, Ms. Herring.
Thank you.
Item number 9, Mr. Harrison. Good morning.
I make a motion to approve roadwork accomplished,
All right.
roadwork schedule.
All right, so a motion by Mr. Morrison to approve item A, roadwork accomplished, second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed with the like sign. Mr. Harrison, it looks like items B through H is regarding permit approvals.
It is, yes, sir.
AT&T
and Windstream.
Does the board want to take all those together?
I'll make a motion to take them all together.
This would be
B
B
through H.
through H by Mr. Calhoun, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion?
I have one, these D and E, that's gonna get it back going, work back going down there where we had
Yes, with
been
Windstream.
questioned. Okay.
Yes. They finally got everything together to us like they need to.
All right, good deal.
If I may interject on B and C, which is AT&T utility permit request, we've had a couple of encounters with AT&T seeking to collect from Rankin County for damages that occurred on various AT&T infrastructure. What we've discovered is that they are seeking to collect that from the county, but the appropriate people to collect it from is a third party that's engaged in work on behalf of the county under a contract, a road contractor. And so I want to be sure that we, on items B and C, if I can get it, that it is contingent upon AT&T releasing and waiving any right to claim damages against Rankin County for any alleged damage infrastructure on any Rankin County project of any kind.
I'll make that
All right,
motion.
Mr. Calhoun, can you add that to your motion? You
Oh,
okay to add
I'm
that?
sorry.
Mr. Morrison?
I mean,
I'm fine.
right, so we'll add that items B and C are contingent, and then D, E, F, G, and H will fall through normal approval. Brad, you good?
I'm good with that.
All right,
Yeah.
so that's their motion. Any further discussion? Mr. Slade, will that work?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd like to talk about, while we on permits just a little bit.
Yep.
I know me and Craig's talked about a fee and stuff, and I know we're not getting into that today, but we need to really think about that. Because just like the other day, we was digging up a road repair, 6 inches deep, to wire a gas line. And we have a grace period of 10 inches that we can dig without a locate. I mean, their utilities are less than the limitations, but we're gonna get a bill on that, you know. And so I think we need to pursue forward with our utility permits even harder than what we're doing, because, I mean, I know we can't correct the past, but we can sure correct the future out here. And you ought to be able to go out there, and dig a pothole up and do a base repair without hitting a gas line or even AT&T line, you know.
It would help you document,
We did,
where it was
we did,
as far as pictures.
we did. We got pictures, we got everything, so.
We won't be reimbursing anybody for anything in our road that's 6 inches at depth.
But I mean, that's just the stuff we run into every day out here, that if we could start correcting the future, we'd be better off, I think.
Was that a previous old line that was put there before the road, or is that something that they bored under the road and we just didn't know about it?
We could,
I think it's been there a while.
It's been there a while. I mean, the
I don't know how it
subdivision,
got
the
there.
older subdivision, that's why I say we can't correct the past, but we can sure correct the future. And I'll be honest with you, if we wasn't out here inspecting and doing these permits, it would still be putting in the same way it is back in the old days. I mean, we have to stay on these guys to make sure they install it correctly. I mean, we sent a crew home last week for 3 days. I mean, they don't wanna do right, we send them home, you know, so.
So,
you may get some.
but existing line, like, I mean, we can't, it's kinda hard for us to, how we gonna handle that?
That's not really gonna apply.
We can't do anything
it's
with
new.
that.
No, we
New
can't do
placement.
anything with
New
that,
placement.
Jared, but I mean, just like Craig said, and I mean, I'll let Craig touch on it, he knows.
I agree, I mean, I'm fine with it, I just was thinking we can't very well go back on them on an old line.
No, we can't go back on them on a whole line, but I think we've got to get, I reckon where I'm at is we're just doing a few permits right now. We've got to get everybody in the permit process.
Right.
To make sure, and it's bad that we've got to make sure that they install it correctly.
Gas and water.
Gas, water, I mean, it's all like that,
Whatever, really.
you
Most
know,
everything.
telephone.
We got rid of
I
it.
mean, most of the potholes, somebody called me over the weekend and say, hey, there's a hole in the road over here. Well, I'll go find where a water line company dug up our road and didn't repair it, didn't do nothing. They just left it.
Mr. Slade,
You
you
know.
want to clean up anything verbally on that?
No, there's no cleanup. Just a reminder to you guys, the permit fee, in part, would be to help us defray the cost of having to police them.
So we're gonna try to get that together for y'all and get y'all some options. I just wanna touch on it a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Anything else under comment?
Yeah, we got,
Hang on, Mr.
Oh,
We
go
got, I
ahead.
got to vote. I was just trying to
Yeah,
see
I
if we
know.
had anything else on discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So item I, Mr. Harrison.
I want to talk to y'all about looking at getting a jetter. This is a jetter to clean out storm drains and culverts.
Let me add on that right there. That jetter, I didn't know what a jetter was until
I borrowed that
wound
one
up into
the
this
other day.
spot. But we're constantly calling PRV in the District 2 area to borrow those jetters to bust out clogs that we have in some of our areas. So when we wait on those things, when we're having to bust those things out, we've got large amounts of debris that's clogged up our pipes that we can't get them to flow properly, so we can't get the water off the streets. So the problem with that is we're having to wait, and if they're already tied up, we can't get them. So I think this is a really critical piece to our toolbox for the road department to have. So
What's the jetter cost?
Jared, there's somewhere, you know, prices change every day. I checked on one a month ago, about 85,000. But I mean, this will be efficient for us to clean out storm drains, culverts. I mean, it'll be useful in the county. It's not gonna be a piece of equipment we use every day, but when you got a culvert stopped up, and that's the only way you can get them unclogged, you know,
Yep.
when it gets hung up in the middle. But
Do you have it in your budget?
We can, I've looked at it, we can move some money around and I can keep it within my budget, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Why don't you just get some prices, but come back to us?
Okay.
I mean, that'd have to be bid out anyway.
Over 50,000.
Yeah, I'm like.
Right, Bridget? Anything over 50,000?
If you wanna go forward, if you wanna get approval to advertise today, I know we've done it at that point.
Well, that's true.
Go ahead and take care of that today if necessary.
I mean, we can. prove
Average
we
it,
can
average it and see it if
advertise.
we don't have it at that point.
We don't
Yeah.
have to advertise.
Do they have them on state contract by any chance? Probably not. Good with getting approval to advertise, see what the prices
But I mean,
are.
it's gonna be somewhere between 85 and 100, just depending on what you're looking at on some options on it, Jay.
How often a year you use one from PRV?
I mean, I use one at least once a month, a couple times a month. You know,
Every
I
time we
mean,
get storms,
Especially during after
Yeah.
a fall and leaves.
Falls and leaves, I mean, the fall of the year is the worst time of our year. Brad, is, you know, with the leaves on the ground, they're getting all these storm drains that we have in the county. And once they get clogged up, then the water can't get out.
How big of a reach, I guess, a hose is attached to this? I mean, cause, I mean,
I
some of
think
these
we
drains
can
are pretty
I think
long.
we can do 600 feet, which will get us more than from inlet to an inlet.
what we've kind of been having to do right now at the reservoir area is we just can piggyback it on the fire department.
Get fire
Where we
truck
come
up
out there
and
and we just pull a hand line down into the storm drain, but that requires us to put a person down in there, which has usually been me here lately, but to operate that hand line, shooting water through these pipes. So we can do that, it just takes the fire truck out of service. That,
Yeah.
it doesn't really need to be doing that anyway, so, I think it's definitely needed, but, does the board have a problem with advertising for that?
I'll make a motion
Anybody?
to advertise.
Sorry. Entertain a motion to advertise by Mr. Calhoun,
Oh, do we need
We
to
need to
add
add
that to
that.
it? I'll make,
You've got potential action here.
so we can just take the action being to advertise. All right, so advertise, Mr.
I'll
Calhoun,
make a
second.
motion to advertise.
Yeah.
Second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? Ms. Bridget, will that do the motion just to advertise?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item J, Mr. Harrison.
I reckon this one's on me and Tim, because we both got it listed. Discussion of ERBR. This is gonna be our emergency bridge deal. We've got another round of funding.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna let Tim, it's under both of them.
maybe two of us will get halfway right. They've come out with another round of ERBRF funding. As y'all remember, we've applied both times. This is the third round. We haven't gotten anything yet. To my knowledge, everything so far has gone to closed bridges, especially up in the Delta area. They've got a lot of bridges that are closed, and quite honestly, that's the intent of the ERBR, is to tackle those that are true emergencies, and those are taking priority. But we have some bridges that we think can qualify also, and the last time we submitted the Ehrlich Road Bridge and also the Midway Road Bridge. And we can submit on whatever you want, but it would make sense just to go ahead and resubmit those. I think a lot of people this time are just resubmitting the same ones that they submitted last time. But we would just need authority to submit for that potential funding.
It won't hurt to submit.
No.
When would you know something if you were,
You know, it's generally a few months. It could be sooner, but I would expect late summer at the earliest year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it hurts to
Usually
try.
takes us 3 or 4 months for it.
Should we make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to, I mean, how we need.
Well, we
add this.
actually, they have, part of the submission process is a board order, so we've gone ahead and prepared that. And
Okay.
it's basically a resolution that says, we're submitting on Ehrlich Road Bridge, that's SA 6113, Midway Road Bridge, SA 61202. And the board's acknowledging that if the project's awarded, grant funding will not exceed the amount requested in the app or the eligible cost, whichever is less. And you're authorizing preparation and submission of the application to the ERBRF program and execution of such grant or related documents required for commencement of the project.
All right, I make a motion to
Adopt that board.
adopt all you just said, to submit that for
Okay.
these two projects.
All right, so a motion by Mr. Morrison to submit a letter, second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Thank you, Mr. Harrison.
It's not a bad thing
Mr.
to
Parker,
not
while you're up there,
get that. It's not.
you need notes?
I always need those.
All right. All right, item 10, Mr. Parker, good morning. Item
Morning.
A.
Thank you. Mr. President, item A is French Branch subdivision. This is a 5-lot development on White Road. Mark Vincent's developing, and I believe he's here. Mark. We're recommending approval of the final plat contingent upon receipt of the Water Association's intent to serve letter. Unfortunately, the Water Association meets once every month, and they meet tonight also, so we're anticipating that they'll move forward with it. But we didn't want to hold up the developer, so we're recommending approval contingent upon that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
All right,
the
so motion to
retention of
approve.
the water, just like it reads, yeah.
All right, so motion to approve by Mr. Morrison,
Second.
second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item B, Mr. Parker.
Item B, Mr. President, is discussion and potential action on the Gunner Road Improvements Project Phase 1. That's a District 1 project. We took bids last Wednesday. You should have a bid tab, certified bid tab in front of you.
Yep.
We've reviewed the bids and checked them and certified them as being correct. The low bidder is Hemp Hill Construction Company. Their bid was in the amount of $3,2,837.84. We would recommend approval of that if the board wants to move forward.
Hey, Tim, what was our estimate on this job?
Our estimate was 2.7, but it was actually done back in December, Jay. So they were within 10% of an estimate that's a few months old, and those prices are increasing every day. If you look at that closely at that bid tab, you can see where asphalt is versus where it has been in the past. It is continually going up.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, so motion approved by Mr. Morrison,
Second.
second by Mr. Bishop. You know our wounds with Hempfield, right?
Yeah,
Good luck to you.
I know your wounds are,
Oh, yeah, you're fixing to get a dose of it, I think.
yeah.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? I'd be a nay on Hempfield Construction doing any work here. Mr. Parker, anything else?
No, sir. Item C was eloquently done by the road manager, so.
He did do a
we're
good
to
job
go.
with that.
Thank you, sir.
Eloquent, man.
Well, I think it's the way he's dressed today. You know, he didn't go with the pastels. He went with the standard white shirt. So, Mr. Slay, item number 11.
Thank you, Mr.
Good
President.
morning. Setting public hearings.
If I could ask for the board to consider a lump approval of items A through F, which are all to set public hearings for May 16th at 9 a.m.
All right, items A through F.
I'll make,
So, motion by Mr.
Yeah.
Calhoun, second by
Aye.
Mr. Bishop.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed with the like sign. Item G.
Item G is a cleanup matter. We received information from the State Department of Revenue to assess a chargeback against a piece of property. Before we received the chargeback notice from the state, the property had changed hands. Unfortunately, the chargeback applied to the property, and the current or new property owner was charged with the chargeback even though it applied to the prior owner. This is a refund to the new owner of what had been paid that should have been paid by the prior owner. That's what you're doing. It's $351.50 payable to Michelle Johnson at 304 Tracy Cove.
Okay. Does the board wish to entertain a motion for this?
Make motion approved.
Motion approved by Mr. Bishop,
second.
second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item H.
Item H is approval of the professional service agreement with our friends at M&G Enterprises doing business and engineering services for their services related to mill and overlay of the Spillway Road project. Authority of the board president to execute the agreement.
Motion approved.
All right, so motion approved by Mr. Bishop, second by myself. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item I. Mr. Slay.
Item I is a public hearing to receive comments on the proposed issuance of tax increment financing bonds to support construction of Orleans Way Improvement Project located in the city of Brandon pursuant to a tax increment financing plan and development agreement as previously identified and published. An acknowledgement by the board that all requirements of public notice have been met. With the board's authorization, we will open that public hearing. I will ask if there is anyone here to speak on the matter of the tax increment financing plan or on the board's proposed issuance of tax increment financing bonds to support the Orleans Way Improvement Project. Is there anyone here to speak on that matter this morning? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak on that matter. At this time, it would be appropriate to close the public hearing and move to item J, which is a consideration of and potential adoption of a resolution approving the adoption and implementation of the tax increment financing plan for Orleans Way, City of Brandon, Mississippi. I would
Okay.
need a motion to approve
right,
that
so-
resolution.
All right, so the board wish to entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve this
Motion approved by
resolution.
Mr. Calhoun.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with light signs. Item J passes. Item K.
I do want to recognize Mr. Gurus is here. Obviously, Mr. Defoe is here with Ergon. Thank you guys for being here. Do you have anything that we need to address at this point, Chris? All right.
Thank you very much. We'll be at the city of Brandon tonight.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right.
All right, item K,
Item
Mr.
K, Mr.
Slay.
President, is acknowledgement that mobile home taxes associated with PPIN 4746, this is at 123 Bee Ridge Road in Florence, have been assessed against mobile home for the tax years that are shown here, although the electric service to this unit was disconnected in 2007. So what's happened is that the unit's been unlivable and has had no electric service whatsoever. The gentleman who had been living there left the unit sometime in '07, lived elsewhere, and then passed away in recent days, and his family has discovered that there has been a continuing assessment of taxes against the unit, even though it hasn't been livable for that time. So your action today would be authority to void the ad valorem tax assessments for the tax years listed, 2018 to 2022, for PPIN 4746, and to get that matter cleared up.
All right, does the board wish to entertain a motion to acknowledge? Anyone?
I'm not too, I don't understand it all, but yeah, it looks like it's something we need to do. Okay, so I'll make a motion.
Motion.
Did you get it all?
I got a lot of them that's unlivable.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you want a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the
All right,
motion.
so motion to acknowledge by Mr. Morrison. Second by anyone?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Discussion?
I assume there'll be some value as to the lot or something. I mean, they're just gonna have to reevaluate.
Yes, sir. So these are actually mobile home taxes, Steve. It's
Oh, okay,
not the
okay.
assessment to
All
the
right.
real property.
We're not done with
I don't think anything
All
is
right.
changing at all with respect to the real
Okay.
property here.
All
This
right.
is just the unit itself.
Okay.
Anything else?
I keep my second.
Anything else on discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed with light signs? Item K passes. Mr. Slay, anything else on your
I'll have a couple of items to discuss with board in additional business, and there may be a need for us to talk in executive session.
Okay. Mr. Hicks, item number 12. I don't know why I called you Heeks, but
I don't know, that
sorry
didn't
about
come out
that.
good, did it?
It's kind of all running together for me. Item number 12, under item, I guess section 12, item A. It's
We'll
kind of
get
been
there.
one of them days, Mr. Hicks. I'm sorry about that. So I
Got
botched up
rattled
your
with all
section.
the
Sorry about that.
legislators in
Some
here.
things break my concentration
You let me know
sometimes.
when
Sorry
you're
about
ready.
that. Yeah, I think I'm ready now.
All right.
I'm gonna try to pull it back together.
Here we go. Community Services Building Renovation Project. This is a request for approval of change order number 4, and this is a deduction of $25,000 to the contract because they didn't use the contingency and testing allowances, and authorization for the president to sign.
Okay.
Everybody get that? A deductive change order, we love those.
I mean, yes,
Board wish to entertain a motion to add 25,000 back.
So moved.
Mr. Bishop's motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the light sign. Item B, fire trucks. This ought to be on every single agenda.
Item
5
B.
fire trucks.
This is authority to purchase 3 2024 commercial Freightliner responder pumpers from EEP. And this is going to be for Cleary, Cato, and Evergreen volunteer fire departments. And these we expect sometime in 2024 to get rid of the authority to issue check there.
Yeah, so
Why
what,
are we
what's
gonna
that?
buy one of Cato? I thought Price took care of them.
$15,000.
Oh, okay. I thought he got them all fire trucks down there.
15,000? Oh, yeah, he threw a little,
Alright.
that may pay the tag or something.
A couple of times.
The,
That may
and
be
just
a
to show you the
Okay.
amount these fire trucks have gone up, that's almost 400,000 a piece, right?
It is.
So used to you could buy a commercial fire truck for $150,000. That's probably 7 or 8 years ago. Less than 10
Yeah.
years ago, you could buy them for $150,000. Now they're almost 400,000. So, and it's 2-year wait time, by the way. So it's a good time. All right, the board wish to entertain.
Is this just a deposit that?
Well,
I mean, it won't
I'm
be.
sorry.
You can't pay till you get them.
That's right.
It's
So-
authority to issue the PO.
Yeah.
That's right.
We are attempting to take advantage of the pricing as it stands today, as bad as it
Absolutely.
is, out of fear that if we wait.
So
it'll be
Pierce had an
worse.
issue coming up that in May, they were gonna have a massive price increase. So I think this can lock us into that price if we can act today. So, am I correct with that, Brett?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Just in the last 2 weeks, the chassis has gone up $3,800.
Yep, it's crazy.
This will get us locked in before that chassis increases.
All right. All right. The board wish to entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make,
So a motion by Mr. Calhoun, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed with the light sign. Mr. Hicks, anything else?
We do have an item under additional business.
All right, so you want to go first under additional business or Mr. Slade? Doesn't matter.
If you don't mind, I've got another item that I want to address with the board and get some direction
First off, Greg,
on.
I'd like to say, good job today.
Bless you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank y'all for being responsive, by the way. We need to let those guys know we appreciate them, and they've been so helpful to us. So thank you for letting us do that, and I realize that it took up a lot of time, but I think it's well worth it.
I
Appreciate
think
the
it
ladies
worked out real well.
Sir.
I think it went real well.
I hope they felt what was intended, which was appreciation without a corresponding request for something else. So we never have conversations with those guys when we're not talking about the next thing coming down the pike. When we get an audience with them, they know where we stand on our requests, and we try to take advantage of those opportunities. So it's good to have an occasion where we really don't have to ask them for something. So thank y'all for that. Gentlemen, we've got one item. I've got two items I want to address with you and get some direction on. The first is in our current, in our prior agreement, the one that expired in September of 2021 with Waste Management, there were bonds that provided security for performance. Those bonds are no longer required because the contract terminated. This is cleaning that up and allowing for our board president to indicate on letterhead that we no longer look to those documents for collateral or security, and that's because we have a new agreement that has new bonds. So we don't need the old as collateral anymore. Just cleaning up the record and getting that all officially handled. So this would be authorizing Keith to indicate we don't require the prior performance bonds under the old agreement. That would be an item to add, Mr. President.
All right, so
and then we'd need
entertain a
action.
motion to add that to the agenda.
I'll make a motion to add that to the
So,
agenda.
motion by Mr. Calhoun, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the light sign. So that's to add it, Mr. Slade?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right, so
I'll make a
motion
motion to approve
Okay.
Keith handling the document.
as stated.
As stated.
So motion to approve by Mr. Calhoun. Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the light sign. Mr. Slade?
Yes. So I need some direction from the board. We need to go on and move forward with the process of executing officially now agreements with our engineers on all of our ARPA projects. I have drafts in my possession that I've begun reviewing, and there's some work that needs to happen there to get everything buttoned up and situated like we want it. But I'm making you aware that we need to go on and get that taken care of. You'll remember that as a part of the process, the decision was made, even though it's not clear from the legislation, that we follow the federal procurement requirements for professional services on projects like this where federal funding is involved. And although it's not clear that we have to do that, we felt like out of an abundance of caution and just to be safe, we would go through the federal procurement process. You actually initiated an RFP for professional services. You may or may not remember that. You took responses from 3 engineering firms, and you designated each of those 3 that responded as your engineers for the projects, and they have defined responsibilities. This part of the process is to execute agreements with each of those entities now, pursuant to the federal procurement requirements, and it lays out responsibilities of both us and them to perform under the program and the plan. And so I'm working through that process now, and I'm indicating to you that we need to act on that. So I need some direction. How much detail, how much information does the board wish to have at this stage in light of the fact that these are global agreements? They're not specific as to project. They talk just in terms of total service, scope, and responsibility. And then as individual projects come online, you will issue task orders underneath those global agreements that define scope, pay, responsibilities, et cetera, et cetera. So you got a global agreement that says you're gonna be the engineer that provides services on ARPA stuff as assigned, and then you have the actual agreements that assign, okay? So for the big document where there's not detail, how much information do you need? Because that's what I'm asking you to execute.
I think, I know our desire and the way we started this off was to have one of the firms do the hydraulics.
Yes.
But just for safety, security, if by some chance we get into this and we see we're not gonna make our deadline, could we allow the other two firms to do that if need be?
Yes, it would be a process, Jay, where I need to insert language into the global agreement with the hydraulics specified entity. We'll just put names in here. There needs to be some language in the Wagner piece that says the board retains the right to assign hydraulic responsibilities to another engineering firm in the event that Wagner is not able to perform in a timely manner.
Okay.
And I don't see any issue with that. Is that the biggest concern that you would have, Jay?
Yeah.
All right, so I would propose, let me just get that language in there as an addendum, so it's clear that we need to move forward. Let me hasten to add this one piece that I want you to keep in your minds. It's the federal government that put the deadlines in place, right? Nobody at the state has said you gotta complete your projects by a certain time. Nobody at the state has said you've got to be under contract on particular projects by a certain, none of that is our idea or the state's idea. That all comes from the feds. It came through the legislation. I predict that there will be an extension of those deadlines. It will happen.
I think it will too.
It's gonna about have to happen.
It will have to happen, and there will be
You're not gonna have enough of contractors to do the work.
the country to make that happen.
And you got weather and whatever.
And I am not concerned in the least that we are gonna run out of time on our ARPA projects. I am not concerned. We still have open today, talked to Joe Wagner about this recently, there is still open today Katrina projects. We're 17 years after the fact, and there are still.
That is a little excessive.
Statute be gone. Statute limitations run, but.
We will see relief on the deadlines before we get to the deadlines. All right, but I think it's wise.
But I think it's
insert
good to put that language in there.
language in there.
Yeah, I think so
just so
too.
we got it in case we need it.
Okay.
Well, and actually, I guess I wanna be sure they can move fast enough that multiple of these projects can get going. That's what concerns me.
I think
Because there's gonna be a bunch of them.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
that's
Yep.
what concerns me. I mean, do they have the,
Yeah, let me address that. There are a number of our projects, Jared, that do not require significant hydraulics. There are a number of projects, and I don't want to pick on our hydrologists, all right? There are a number of these projects that just simply don't require a significant level of engineering that will take an extraordinary length of time.
I mean.
Complex, there'll still be a lot of details that have to be gathered, but they will be of the type to support the project that don't require a significant delay.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of some that I'm not expert in that at all, I don't know anything about it, but just looking at it, I would think it would require a hydraulic study like obviously some of the bigger ones.
There will be a number of projects, and when I say number, a minority number, it will be much less than half of them, where the hydrology piece is significant. Significant.
Yeah, I know.
And it's gonna take a long time to get details together. And I wanna remind the board, the reason we have a hydrologist, the reason we have hydraulic analysis underway is because we have to be able to explain to somebody with the federal government why we spent ARPA money on that.
Well, I hope they don't take the long environmental studies.
No, sir.
I make a motion to approve.
All right, so we need to add that or anything?
Yes, please.
So motion to add, Mr. Bishop?
Oh, all right.
All right, motion to add by Mr. Bishop.
Second.
Second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the light sign. So motion to
So
approve.
what just happened there is, and I want to make sure everybody's clear, that Jay is authorizing us to move forward with the execution of those agreements as long as contingently, as long as that protective language is inserted in the hydraulic piece.
Correct. Yep.
Clear that?
That'll be your motion, Mr. Bishop?
We'll get that in there before we execute and deliver.
Okay. Who makes that decision whether this is not going fast enough and we need to move, we need to take another step?
I would think that comes back to the board. It comes back to us.
Yeah, 'cause I think there's something we need to watch. I mean, really need to watch there.
Hey,
No?
while we're kinda on this topic, and it's not the exact same, but it is in the case where we're having more than one engineering company doing work. Whenever we have an engineering company other than our county person, and they are responsible for the engineering of a subdivision or road or whatever. And then I have been told, well, we really can't hold them responsible because the plans were correct and they certified to the plans. But the plans weren't really maybe implemented all the way. Well, this guy, he's kind of handcuffed, and then we don't have the authority to hold the other really responsible for a whole job. Is there something we can do to,
Yeah.
I don't want to quit use, I mean, I want to spread the wealth. I mean, there's more than one engineer in Rankin County, I understand that. But I think we all should have to have the same responsibilities. And
I think they need to see it from start to finish, be on site if they're the one that stamped that plan.
yeah, I mean, I know it costs money, but it really costs money when we have to go
Well,
back.
the builders or
Yeah,
developers will end up
later on, yeah.
incurring that cost.
All right, that's all I'm gonna say. Let's think on it and try to figure out a way.
I agree
So-
100%.
So
I'm not
got a
even-
motion
I'm not
by
even gonna speak up.
Mr. Bishop. Yeah. Second by Mr. Calhoun.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed with the like sign. I got confused when he said there was more engineers than one in Rankin County. I didn't know what he said there. Huh? Okay, I got you. Got me curveball there. Hang on one second. If I got Mr. Slay going, I'm gonna come back on additional bit. I'm coming to you. Hang on. I want to talk about that villas issue we talked about on last Friday. So,
Yes.
back in the early 1900s, when Mr. Swells was county supervisor, I'm gonna say that laughingly, so I know he's listening to me. There was a issue that came up on the board. There's a subdivision off Hugh Ward Boulevard called the Villas, which is a kind of retirement community that lives right there. They have one street, and I believe it's Garrett Landing.
Is that where you
Mr.
all was
Harrison.
going?
That's well, that was similar. It was going right. So the villas that are there, Garrett Landing is one road. It's a circle road that's there. It's just one road that's inside of there. But for some reason, the county hadn't taken acceptance of that. So somewhere through the due diligence of Mr. Slay and Mr. Harrison, they found Ms. Flood at work, and they've got her to pull the documents and found it on the board meeting, board minutes. Mr. Swells put through to approve that and accept that as a county road with several contingencies to be able to happen. The problem is right now they have issues on those roads that we wasn't sure whether or not it was a county road in that
Have we
subdivision.
ever
or not.
done maintenance on it?
Yeah, we've been doing maintenance on it. So we're making the assumption that because we've been continually doing maintenance and fixing potholes and things in that neighborhood, that the items that were left out to be finished, one was dealing with the bank. I think priority one was one of the banks that was involved with it on the development of it, that we've met all of those issues. So I want to be sure we have it clear on the minutes. Mr. Slay's going to clean this up a lot better than what I'm saying it. But that is a county road on Garrett's Landing inside the Villa subdivision. So Mr. Slay can add to that.
So we did find in the minutes a reference that the board was accepting contingent upon some sort of satisfaction as it related to the installation of the wearing surface is what we anticipate that was about. Was it interplayed between the board and the board attorney and what was then a bank that was involved in that development that more than likely had issued a letter of credit to protect the wearing surface installation. That's the best we can come up with. it's not really that clear from the board minutes exactly what the contingency was, but I think the best analysis that we can come up with, that's what it was about. It's clear that that contingency was satisfied because the county has been conducting maintenance on Garrett's Landing for a number of years after we got past that minute entry. So there are 9 parts or phases to the development of the villas. Each of those phases has been reduced to a plat. Each of them has been filed in the land records. Ms. Flood was very helpful to get me copies of that. And what I would propose that we do, Daniel, with your permission, is to add an item to clarify the acceptance of Garrett's Landing as a public road within the boundaries of the villa subdivision.
Okay.
To clarify that the county has in fact accepted Garrett's Landing for public maintenance, that it is not accepting anything other than Garrett's Landing as reflected on the plats. Okay?
Yep.
Because there are other areas within the villas where there is concrete or potentially asphalt.
Yeah, so the subdivision is a circle, Garrett Land is a circle, and the houses that live on it, they do have individual driveways that run up in between each of the houses, they're really on top of each other. We're not accepting those are just normal private driveways. This is only Garrett's Landing as the subdivision itself. So.
Right.
Why would we just not be accepting it? After all
No,
these
I'm
years?
just trying to be sure that we have accepted it. I don't know that we have. There's a document out there that Mr. Harrison believed that we hadn't accepted it. So
We're clarifying
we're cleaning up the minutes is what we're doing.
You're not accepting it now. What you're doing is you're clarifying that you've accepted it previously.
Yep.
Okay, well,
You're just clarifying.
is that
That's
all we're doing? Just
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Just clarifying.
previous?
You're eliminating any contingency here. Because there was always an open question, did they meet the contingency? So there was no follow-up after the fact. Back when the board, I want to say, help me, Daniel, it's like 03.
Yeah, I think so.
It goes way back, right?
Yeah, and for the same side of that, the bank was involved with it, where we believe there was a letter of credit involved on the final surface where, and Mr. Slay's office doesn't have any record of a letter of credit. So we released that, so that should have been done. We just want to be sure that on the minutes now, that we know Garrett's Landing is a public street, and it's been accepted
Cleaning
by
it
the
up for
county.
everybody going forward now. And to the extent that it's not on the road plan, it'll be on the road plan now as a public road for maintenance purposes and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll just make it really clear. Nobody has to question anymore.
All right, so
Is it or is it
I'll
not?
make that motion to add that under additional business.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with light sign? And I'll also make a motion to approve and accept that for Garrett's Landing.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed with light sign? Thank you, Mr. Slay. Mr. Hicks, I know you had something under additional business. I'm standing by for Mr. Harrison. I'm trying to put him off as long as I can. Mr.
He
Harrison?
already had his spot.
He did.
It usually costs us money every time we get
I know,
there.
I know. I think he's gonna be, he's not as aggressive today. He didn't have his pastels on, so he's gonna be a little more subdued.
Nah, I just, kinda wanna give the board a heads up where I'm not sure where we're headed, but I think I know where we're headed with our vendors. We've actually had one vendor pull their contract last week, sent a letter saying they couldn't honor the bid no more.
Who was that?
It was wash gravel. It's not a big issue yet. But when we use up the wash gravel we got, and wash gravel has gotten scarce. I don't even know if we can get it right now. But limestone's getting to be an issue. They was one place in Vicksburg that had limestone for the last 3 weeks. Commodities are getting to be an issue. Me and Craig's talked about this. I mean, with fuel, just prices that, when we bid this in, October, November?
September.
Yeah.
Is it
last
an issue
year.
because of availability or because of?
Well, a lot of it's availability and a lot of it's just because prices have tripled and doubled.
Well, I understand the price.
Like the wash gravel, they could get the wash gravel, but it's double the price.
I understand, that's what I'm saying. Is it that they can get it? It's just, what we're really talking about is they can't honor the bid.
Well, like the bid was like
I
$12
understand
a ton delivered, Jared. I think their cost is $22 a ton today.
So we could still go back that same, they can offer us the delivery, it's just gonna be at a different cost. We're not fixing to start moving on for other people hauling, are we?
We're not allowed to issue a PO for a different cost than they bid.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we know on the front end that they are going, basically what we're asking them to do is to send us 100 units of this commodity at $11 per unit.
Yeah.
And it costs them 22
Yeah.
per unit.
I understand what's going on.
That's gonna basically bankrupt themselves.
Oh, I can understand it, I'm just trying to get clear.
We
What's
can't
the solution?
adjust. We can't adjust. I think the solution, honestly, you've got two
Fuel surge?
solutions that are, neither of them are really beneficial. One, you force them to perform.
Well, you can't do
You
that.
say, we entered into an agreement with you, this is the pricing you gave us, we have relied on that, you are required by law to perform, even if you
Yeah, you
can't.
can't do that.
That's not a good outcome, that's not a good situation, right? I don't think anybody wants to go down that road, you're not gonna get anywhere, they're not gonna voluntarily.
They didn't see this coming, so they couldn't put anything in there, to, contingencies
So they
to
do
affect
take
that.
some risk, Jared, when
Yeah.
they submit a commodity bid
I
to
know.
us, they
I
do
know.
take some risks that prices are gonna potentially be.
Hey,
back.
is Slade's mic on? It may have.
Yeah. So, the other option is to consider going back out for commodity pricing again.
Could we?
What
add-
choice we have?
I mean, can we do like a fuel surcharge? I mean, you can't do that?
Yeah, I'm not aware, I've reached out to the Technical Assistance Division at the State Auditor's Office to see if there are options available to us.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten a response at this point.
But I mean, the problem is gravel affects every commodity we've got. I mean, everything we do has got wash rock in it, so what I'm scared of that we're gonna run into, or what I'm getting worried about, so we got a letter Friday. I mean, we're gonna get into our midsummer work, where we're really banging and going, and these people can't honor their prices.
Oh, I know exactly what's
And-
going on, man. We did the
Because I
same
mean,
thing,
everybody
the
I've
work I've
talked,
had.
everybody I've talked to, they've got contracts with other people, and they said, give it to your lawyer, whatever, we're not going bankrupt
Yeah.
over this, you know?
And by the time.
The same thing, I brought up when you mentioned this Friday or Thursday, is that before we go down this path, we make sure and go to the next bidder and give them opportunity to honor their bid.
Before we open it back up.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I'm just talking
Come
about
up.
any of them.
It wasn't that? Oh,
Yeah. If there is another next bidder, that we do that.
Yes.
Wash gravel's not on state contract, we would have to go the
Don't it?
two-quote route.
Yeah.
But it's all get to be a mess.
Yeah.
the only thing was, I know one thing, and I doubt it'll go down, but let's say we rebid it, and it's
What's the same?
3 times, what, then it goes, yeah, then we're stuck way up here.
I mean, we've talked about it, I talked to Bridget about it, I mean, you know, we was in a level playing field when we started doing year commodity things,
Yeah.
everything's been kinda settled and done. Everything done got interrupted, we're gonna have to go back to 6-month bids.
Yep.
I mean, we don't have no choice.
Thank you, Mr. Biden.
Or you're gonna be doing the two quote thing, and that's always a possibility, but it does create additional work for the purchasing area. You gotta get identical quotes and all that other kind of stuff, that's always an
If
issue
you
for
get too
us.
close.
Oh, yeah, if you can even get the product, I mean, I'm getting worried, you know, y'all was talking about Harper and stuff like that right there. I'm telling you, this rock commodities done got serious right now.
Well, it's really more or less limestone though, right? Not washed gravel?
Well, I mean, it's limestone, it's
Well,
washed
how many
gravel.
do you use washed gravel for?
I use it for all our gravel roads that we have and.
Rather than limestone?
You've been using limestone.
What, on
Were
our
you
gravel
talking
road?
about on the gravel roads or for chip sealing?
On our gravel roads.
Oh, gravel road, yeah, gravel roads, yeah.
But I mean,
We
it
don't have that
takes, it
many
takes a
gravel
lot
roads,
of,
so.
it takes a lot of wash gravel to keep them covered.
I got
mean,
more
wash gravel was
Steve,
10.75 a ton delivered and.
I got one.
And,
all yours.
And limestone's $34 a ton, there's a lot of difference in that price, so it's gonna reflect, I mean, if I got to shift the budget, it's gonna, that's what I'm telling y'all, it's gonna reflect the budget somehow.
Mr. Slade, do you need any action on that, or just we making people
No,
I
know?
don't
Just
like to do
making
yet.
aware of the situation, we're gonna
Okay.
try to address it as
I don't
best
know
we
what
can.
to do.
Going back out for commodity pricing is not an option for us because of the timing.
I don't know.
You'll be all the way through your summer activity before you get it
Yeah.
situated, so. That's just not an
So,
option.
so then what
How
is,
can
what's
we
the, I mean,
benefit
Just take
from
bids,
that when we can negotiate where we're
that's
at
kinda
anyway?
like,
Yeah,
kinda
just
going
go out for two
kinda like
quotes
market
as
price.
best you
You
can.
just gotta get two
And
prices.
understand that there's
Yeah.
gonna be some
Without a bid,
complexities
without
to
a full
doing that we have to deal with. That having a commodity bid takes that off the table. You don't have to
So
worry.
far, we're just dealing with
Well, you
water.
don't have to advertise.
Right now,
I
we're
guess you
just
need to
dealing
reach
with
out
wash
to
gravel, but
how many
like I
people-
said,
That's the
last
thing.
week my
A lot
phone
of
was
people
burning up
might
with
not
If I
my
was
bill.
you, man, I'd go ahead and
That's a
order
problem. I
all
don't want him to
the
sole source,
limestone
and
you
that's what he's
could
been
that you
doing
intend
on some things,
anticipate
sole
using this
source
year.
material.
We are, I mean,
It's
but
caused me a lot of flack.
Another solution would be go ahead and asphalt mine and Steve's gravel roads, and then we wouldn't have to worry about wash
You
gravel.
know, that's a good plan.
That is.
well, I mean, that may
You're right,
be,
that is
that may
a
be your
solution.
next,
I
that
got-
may
you
be
know,
your next
It's gonna
big
be tough
vendor
to
that
get
you
through.
deal
That's
with.
a good one.
Yeah, don't forget
It's a
about
good
Larry
plan.
Lane.
Hey, it's a good
Brad,
plan.
you're just missing one.
But what I'm saying is,
They're
Brad, that
close.
may be,
They're close.
that may be your next big vendor you're dealing with, because, I mean, their emulsions is tripled, their rock is tripled in price, gas is tripled. I mean, I'm telling you, the asphalt people, when I'm getting calls from the AC guys,
Oh, sure,
it's done got serious.
It's everybody.
now. And I mean,
it's everything.
so,
Alright.
it's just, don't be surprised if I walk up here one day and tell you we ain't got no asphalt bid, or we ain't got nothing.
I
to
get
bid,
all you
know.
can get right now.
So, well, I mean, we're trying to, but, just the way.
What you
things
got,
are.
Bridget?
I just had a question when we're talking about this. What action do we need to take if when they do start making these calls, do I need to just keep getting it in writing that they're not gonna be able to honor and keep going down the list of the alternates
Yes.
until we're out of luck?
Until it's obvious that we've got to do something different. Yes, ma'am.
I mean,
Alright.
the going rate for asphalt today is $130 to $140 a ton.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Our first two bids is $86.50 and
90.
88, you know, so that's gonna get
Well-
pretty tough on somebody.
And we don't need them to back out during the summertime. I mean, we gotta keep them going. I mean,
Right, that's what I was just,
Well, that's kinda like Jay, reach out to the second bidders if you need to.
If we need to, yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's what I say, I mean, I'm
If
gonna
we can
kind
do
of
that.
start talking a little bit and see what situation we're gonna be in.
Alright.
I mean, that's,
Miss Bridget, I'm good with email
But now-
being the documentation. We don't have to have something formal.
Probably got bids for the
Thank y'all.
gravel and stuff like that in asphalt.
All right, anything else under additional business, Mr. Hicks, Mr. Slay? Need for executive session? For,
Personnel.
got a personnel issue and executive session?
Maybe litigation.
So a motion,
I make a motion, discuss the need to go into
executive session for, litigation and personnel?
Yeah.
So, second by Mr. Bishop, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed with light sign, so,
I make a
motion to enter executive
enter
session
into
by
executive session.
Mr. Calhoun, second by Mr.
Second.
Bishop. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed with light sign. Good, I'm coming to you.